All right, everybody, what's going on? Travis Stevenson coming to you today with a video that you didn't ask for, but you're gonna get anyways. I want to talk to you guys about everything that's going into the creation of my next $1 million offer. I get asked this all the time, Travis, how did you get all the 2 Comma Club awards? And for those of you guys that aren't aware, a 2 Comma Club award is just a Clickfunnels award that whenever you have a funnel that does $1 million in sales, you get one of these plaques, and I've got right now 4 of them. How do you get them? Well, you do it through a pretty repeatable system, and then that's how you go from taking one offer to $1 million to several. And I want to break down how I'm going to be doing this on my next offer, what I'm going to be doing, what goes into it. It doesn't really matter where you're at in your business. You can take an offer to $1 million in sales. You just got to have a system and the right mindset and an understanding of what you're going to do before you go in. So knowing kind of how to attack it, getting a game plan, understanding what goes into making a $1 million offer. And that's what I'm going to talk about today in this video. So let's do it. All right, so the first thing that you're going to need to understand is, let's just go ahead and cover what you're going to need. These are just the basics. This isn't going to be some like massive in-depth video, but it is going to be a little bit longer maybe than your typical 3-minute kind of fluff video. This is a real, I would call it like strategy guide to give you guys an idea of what we're trying to go after here. So the very first thing that you're going to need is a well-defined audience. If you don't know exactly who your customers are, you're not going to generate very many sales. And you're going to have a very tough time doing it because your sales message isn't going to be like really tailored to what they need. It's hard to sell somebody something if you can't prove urgency and create demand for it. And if you don't know who your audience is, you can't do that. So one thing that I think is really important before you start your mission of creating an offer, trying to get it to over $1 million, is you need to understand your audience. And a little side note, when I was actually writing this out, I almost wrote out the word like large audience. But as I thought about it for a second, you really don't need a large audience to be able to make $1 million selling a product. You just need a very well-defined audience, one that you can look at, you know what their problems are. You might only have 100 people in your audience, as far as who your customers are going to be, but maybe they pay more money, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But you also need a structured offer. And I think this is where most people kind of miss a step or miss several steps, is because right now it's really easy to make funnels, right? It's really easy to make landing pages, but to make good ones, to make ones that convert well, that's where you take things up a notch. I see a lot of people that make funnels that they're not putting enough time and effort into. So that's where you get into like the little tweaks. Making a funnel is one thing, and then tweaking it. The problem is a lot of people look at funnels and they say, okay, well, I need to have the perfect headline, and you don't. The truth is, you're never going to find the perfect headline. You might find one that converts better, but most of these platforms make this little like small split testing stuff very easy to do. You can have one page that has this headline, one that has that one, and see which one's the winner. So every system that I use for making landing pages makes that pretty simple. The next step is going to be emails. I would say that 60 to 70% of funnels that fail are going to fail in these 2 steps. If you have a funnel, like a website, the ability to grab somebody's name and email address, push them through an offer, so on and so forth, a lot of people are just missing the emails. Actually following up with people via email by sending them automated sequences that you can build most of the time through some of these platforms where you're also building landing pages, but otherwise you can sync them together, and so that when somebody opts in, you're automating this email process. I like to go about 5 to 7 days on my automated email sequence, because you've got to understand, just because somebody opts in today doesn't mean they're going to buy today. It might take them 5 to 10 days to get warmed up to the idea that they want to buy your thing, and you can do that through email without having to spend a bunch more money on ads. So having email in place ahead of time is key. Even if you don't have it all done, one of the things that I do in my funnels is, and in fact in the funnel that I'm going to be talking about here, our new 5-day challenge, we've only got 4 emails in place so far, because what I'm doing is I'm putting 3, and then on day 4 I'll put 4, and then on day 5. That way I'm always a step ahead of the game. Everybody's going to get all 7 to 8 days, but so just have an email sequence in place. Little tip for you, I like to do this based off of 3 criteria. Criteria number 1 is emotion. So I like to use in my emails and my subject lines and my body, I like to have emotional geared copy. So I'm writing something to spread emotion to the individual who's reading that email. So I might, if you're selling a product that's gonna help somebody generate more money, you might talk about the emotions of what it feels like to have enough money to do what you want, right? So imagine yourself getting off a plane and you're landing in this country, whatever, right? So that's what somebody might do with their money. So emotions being the first type of email. The next, the one that I kind of sell off of the most, is logic. So that's just because inherently I'm a more logical thinker. I like to look at things from a logical perspective, not an emotional. So I don't make a lot of purchases myself because of emotions. That doesn't mean that I can ignore that in my funnel. In fact, it'd be a huge mistake if you did ignore that in your funnel, because a lot of people do buy off of emotion. A good amount of people buy off of logic. So like a logical email, this just makes sense. You know, you can put 5, do this, get 3 clients, make this much. Logic, right? Science, math. These are things that are pretty logical. And then the last kind of email that I like to use is scarcity. This one tends to sell the most. Again, when you're generating sales in general, having demand for your product and having urgency to buy that product are two very, very powerful motivators. So in our emails, we're creating demand, and then we have this like leverage of creating urgency. It's another reason I really like messenger messages. Is because they have built-in urgency, and urgency is a strong motivator to buy. So you kind of get that inherent build. You get a little bit more momentum towards sales by using messenger in conjunction with email. The next thing, now you've got your emails in place, the next thing we want to talk about is ads. You are going to need some kind of ads to take people from your funnel back, and bring them back into your funnel at some point. I think that's going to be really important. That you have some ads, mostly for retargeting if you want. You can use organic traffic to fill your funnel, but you will need ads to like really bump that up. They're super high return on investment, or ROI, so I think that's super important for you guys to pay attention to. Doing ads the right way, that's very important. That's why a lot of people are out there buying, you might go out there right now and buy a course on how to do Facebook ads, which is totally fair and a smart thing to do. The next thing I talk about is content. So this just helps. You don't have to post a bunch of content, but this does help to kind of go in conjunction with your ads. A lot of times you can promote content as an ad. So a great example is in this funnel that I'm about to be building, it's a 5-day challenge, and the 5-day challenge teaches people how to build their own email list. And they can build an email list, a messenger list, all of this, right? So what I want to do is I want to produce content that shows people how important it is to have a list. That way I'm building that good foundation, and now I've got them thinking in their mind, I need to build a list. And then my 5-day challenge helps you do that in just 5 days, which is pretty cool. So that's content, but it can be used as an ad as well, so it's a nice thing to have. Next, content for your product. You actually need a product. Now, one thing I will tell you is you don't need a finished product in order to sell the product itself. You can actually sell it for a little bit of a discount if you sell it ahead of time. So if you're selling a $1,000 product, you might discount it to $499 and tell everybody, hey, you'll be going through it live with us. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. But you will want to have a layout of what you're going to put in your product. So it doesn't matter what your product is. You could be selling a course on how to grow herbs in your kitchen. It doesn't matter. As long as it's laid out as to what you're going to show people, it's going to be a no-brainer. Next, you're going to need data. Some system where you can track all of what's happening. That is super, super important. You absolutely need to see, okay, so-and-so's opting in. It takes this long for them to buy. This email is making me this much. If you guys are interested, the system that I use that runs my funnel, email, and data for the most part, I use Clickfunnels and I use Kartra. What I really like is Clickfunnels for their pages, Kartra for their emails and their sequences that you can run, and their data. They give you a ton of data. So I can go in right now and I can tell you which is my most profitable email of all time, individual email, which is a really, really cool stat to have. All right, next up, we're gonna talk about how to actually hit that $1 million mark. So this is like kind of just for show, but it does make a lot of sense for you to have a game plan going in if your goal is a $1 million product. Now, granted, remember, you're not making $1 million, you're generating $1 million in sales. You might keep, on average, from digital products, 40%-ish after processing, potentially paying affiliates, which we'll talk about here in a minute, ad costs and whatnot. So, I mean, you're making $400,000. It's not bad, but the end goal shouldn't just be $1 million and cut it off. It should be multiple of those millions, and that's kind of the key element there. As long as you enjoy the process, just keep doing this thing, right? So again, how to actually hit $1 million. Let's talk about this, because I think this is just so overlooked. A $997 product, that would be 1,003 customers. That's why for a lot of people, you see people selling $1,000 products, because it just doesn't take that many customers. If you're doing something that's hands-on, you might need less customers, but you can get those customers a better result. And so that also means that you can charge them more. So again, if you're teaching somebody how to do yoga, a one-on-one consultation type of platform, where maybe you're doing this for 8 weeks, it should cost more than, 55 bucks. But you're gonna be able to get them a better result. If you're teaching somebody how to build a house, again, it can be expensive because they're gonna get a better result. And so then next we have a 1997 product. You only need 500 customers to make $1 million. And I know that sounds crazy, but if you really let that sink in, $2,000 from 500 people makes $1 million in sales. That's all you need. You don't need a big, massive, elaborate, crazy multitude of different funnels. One funnel that sells a good $2,000 product that is worthwhile puts you over the $1 million in sales mark, get you a 2 Comma Club award, get you another one, get you another one. I have another one behind this whiteboard. So the one that we're going to be talking about today is a little bit of an opposite of what I was just talking about. This is more of a low ticket funnel. So if you were selling a $55 item, you can see here you would need 18,181 sales in order to generate $1 million. Now that sounds way more difficult. To me, it sounds way more difficult to get 18,000 sales at 55 than it does 500 at 2,000, right? Pretty logical. What you can do sometimes is combine most of these, right? You might be able to combine in a funnel a combination of these, and that's what we're going to talk about now. All right, so the offer that I'm about to release is actually a combination funnel of multiple different things, and it actually works more like a true funnel. We get an upfront sale, an upsell, another upsell, and now it becomes a game of percentages and understanding how this whole thing plays together, right? So we're starting our new offer with $55 5-day guaranteed lead challenge is what the offer is called, and basically for 55 bucks, I'm going to teach people how in 5 days they can start generating leads for their business, regardless of what that business is, using Messenger, how they can collect email addresses and the whole nine. So that's what they get for 55 bucks. My hope is to be able to get a good amount of sales at that number, because it's a low enough thing we can bring people into the funnel, low enough number that we can bring a lot of people into this funnel, and then we have upsells, obviously. And so what we want to do is we want to shoot for about 25% conversion on our upsell. So we get people into the 5-day challenge, and then our first upsell is $299 up front plus $149 a month. And what this does is for $299 up front, they're going to get things that make the 5-day challenge significantly easier, better, and faster. It's almost like a concierge program if you think about it. So in our 5-day challenge, they have to make a bunch of graphics. Well, in this upsell, they get a bunch of them, so they don't have to make them. I had a designer make those, which cost me more than $299 to make. So they're actually getting a good deal right there. Plus, they're going to get 10 additional templates, and they're going to get a bunch of other stuff. The $149 a month is a really nice little boost, but that allows them unlimited access to the software that runs all of this. Because with this, they're getting a free trial. With this, they're getting like a massive upgrade on an unlimited version. So this is a really cool upsell. There's more to this $299. They're going to get a physical book that walks them through this entire process. In fact, we're editing it right now. Right there. Yeah. That's him editing the book that they're going to get. Okay, so they get a bunch of stuff for the $299. It's a really great deal. And at this point, we're hoping that about 1 out of every 4 people, or 25%, will actually take this upsell. And if that holds true, I'll show you how our math runs. And then we have another upsell, which is our final upsell, $499, which they actually get, and I don't think I have one in my office anymore. They actually are going to get a physical box which has replays from our Chatmatic Pro Academy, which is our 8-week how to build an agency using Messenger funnel. This upsell is absolutely killer. I know this converts a little bit better than 10%, but I listed here that it's going to convert at about 10% just for our numbers' sake. And then after the 5-day challenge, at the end of it, now that whoever's going through this funnel, whenever they go through the funnel, they now know they can generate leads, right? The whole point is in 5 days, you're going to get leads. Now that they're getting leads, on the 5th day, I introduced them to a $2,000 course that is my how to promote high-ticket offers, how to make high-ticket offers. And they can buy this for $2,000. It comes with funnels. It comes with a bunch of training. So it comes with all my email sequences. It's all pre-built into Kartra, where literally they can just plug in, and now they have their own high-ticket offer, or they can promote our high-ticket offer and make commissions on that, which is really cool. So I would assume this is going to convert somewhere between 5 and 10%. It's a really great course, and it really is like sort of the end-all, be-all of what you would get from us anyways. So let's just do some math, right? Like this is where I think people forget to do this game plan. And just recently I was watching a masterclass with this guy who does smoked meats, Franklin Barbecue. And every single time, even now, he's super professional and like really like he's the top of the line. He's like the best barbecue guy in America. And every single time he's about to grill a piece of meat, he writes out a game plan. Like what time am I trying to take it out? How long am I going to be smoking it? When should I wrap it? What temperatures am I at? That way, afterwards, even if he falls short, he at least can go back and assess his math. Where was I wrong? What can I fix? Can I do it better? Because you might not hit these numbers. If you can go back afterwards and be like, oh, this only converted at 20%. How do I knock that number up 5%? What can I do? Can I tweak a headline? That's when you get into like the little perfecting of a funnel. But at first, you just got to get it out, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just got to be real. And so let's do the math here. On 1,000 people coming into our funnel at $55, that's $55,000 in front-end sales, right? Super far away from $1 million. If all we were doing was selling a 5-day challenge, we're not even close. But then we have 25% of those people are going to buy the $299. So that's 250 people, and you can see here 1,000 times 25% is 250. 250 people times $299 is $74,750. Now that does not include how much I'm going to make off the $149 a month, right? So that's additional income that I'll have, but I'm not trying to account for it here because it just makes it more complicated. Any of those people that stick around for the $149 a month, they're happy, we're happy, it's a bonus. Then about 10% of them, so 1,000 times 10% is 100 people. 100 people take our $499. And now we've made $49,900, which is great. And if 5 to 10% of people are going to take this $199, let's just do the math off of 5%. That's 50 people. 50 people take our $19.97 offer. That's $99,850. Now we're not so far away from $1 million. And I think you guys can kind of see how this whole thing plays out. This is an actual funnel. Hey, get leads guaranteed in 5 days. Hey, do you want to make it really easy, hands-free, and not have to worry about paying for software afterwards and get our best deal? Here you go. And then, hey, look, you're already in. You know you're going to be able to generate leads. Why not make a boatload of money and see how we've generated 500 people who are now generating $10,000 a month doing this for other businesses, because you know how to do it and they don't. $499, I'll send you a physical box in the mail, and now you can have all of that information. And so they walk that funnel, and then, hey, look, now that you're so badass at this, why don't I show you how to promote high-ticket offers so you can get paid $1,000 a sale instead of, lower end sales. So all of this ends up working out to be $279,500. So out of 1,000 sales at 55, my pre-math on the offer is about $280,000. So it would take about 4 times that many sales, so about 4,000 sales-ish, to get over $1 million. So I redid the math here. If you look at 1,000 sales that made $279,500, our average is $279.50 per sale. So every time somebody buys this 55, my math has it that they're actually worth $280 or so on average as they go through our funnel. So now that I know that average, or I have a guesstimate of what my lifetime value of every buyer is going to be, it does a couple of really good things. Number one, in my ads, I know that I can pay less than $279 and I can be profitable. So it might cost me $130 to get a $55 sale. But if my lifetime value of this funnel holds true at $279, I'm spending, call it $150, making $280, I'm positive, right? So that's really, really important that you understand that. And that's why it's really important to have this game plan of like, what's your conversion rate gonna be as you go through? You might not know it if this is your first funnel, you might not know it the first time you do it, but getting a lifetime value is really key. So just having some projected numbers is gonna be very, very important. And then seeing what you can do at every step of the way to get as close to those numbers as possible. And then if it's not this, just go back through and reevaluate and get your real number. Okay, real number is $210 per sale. I'm spending $150, I'm still $60 positive. And now I have an asset, a list, and buyers and all this that I can turn into something down the road. So at this number, $279, it's gonna require 3,577 sales, 77.8 sales to make $1 million, right? So all you have to do is just divide 1 million by your average sale amount. And so I know that it's gonna take me 3,577 sales to make $1 million. Now, let's talk about how am I actually going to get to that number? All right, so let's talk about how we go about getting to that number of sales that we need. We need 3,577 sales. Now we've got a game plan, but we need the game plan of like, how are we actually gonna get these sales? This is probably one of the most important pieces for most of you and one of the things that's either hurt you or helped you when making funnels. So there's 4 really popular ways to get a lot of sales. You're gonna need ads. That's a majority of what I've done in the past is I've just run ads. You run ads to a very, very hyper-targeted audience, and then from there, with a message that builds that foundation. So I might make an ad that talks about, and we have some that are running right now, an ad that talks about how important it is to grow your list and how, and genuinely, I've made a majority of my money in the last 12 years because I've had a list, and that list allows me to profit even in months when my ads aren't doing so well. So as long as you know that, building a list builds up your lifetime value of, what you can expect, that's gonna help you across the board. So I run an ad that teaches people this, right? And I keep showing them that ad, and eventually what's gonna happen is the users are gonna be like, you know what? He's right, I need a list. Oh, and what do you know? He's got that solution. So what your ads, they're educating people, but they're also educating them to the realistic potential that they've got a problem, right? And if you look at any good ad, that's kind of what it does, is it educates you to the fact that, man, I didn't even realize I had that problem, but now that he's, put it that way, I now see, yeah, I had a little problem here with this thing, right? Like I keep biting my fingernails and he keeps saying I got a problem and now I'm noticing it. So that's kind of how ads would go. Emails. So you can use emails, and it doesn't just mean your own, and we'll talk about that here in a minute, but obviously your own email list is gonna be a great way for you to generate sales. We just launched our own 5-day challenge, and we did like 150 sales from our email and messenger list without really having our funnel tweaked out, perfectly yet. We're gonna do another one, and we'll probably do another 100 sales. So your own list is a big factor in being able to generate sales. And then we have Messenger. I think Messenger, again, becomes kind of your list. So I guess you could, in a sense, put those two together. Messenger is your list. It's just your best list, and it gives a really nice urgency to, to your project. So if you're starting something on a Tuesday, on Sunday, I might notify my Messenger list via sponsored messages or however you use it. Look, this is closing on Tuesday, get in. That urgency is gonna reach people and get them to buy. So we found that Messenger is worth 14 times your email list during the same promotion. So don't ignore it. Definitely check that out. Make sure you guys are on board with having a good Messenger setup. But most importantly in this, I think affiliates. And I think those of you guys who are watching this, you might be thinking, Travis, great. Yeah, sure. You have a bunch of 2 comma clubs, so it's not that hard for you to get affiliates. And the truth is that it's no different for me than it would be for you, aside from the fact that I already have some affiliates, people who already want to promote my stuff. But there's a concept that I think Russell Brunson coined called Dream 100. And the Dream 100 is just finding 100 people who are in your niche who might have a list that they want to promote to your stuff. So let's say that you're promoting something in the health space. What I would do is I would look for every influencer in the health space. I would look for anybody who has an offer in the health space. Go to Clickfunnels, go to any of these marketplaces. Find blogs that talk about this health stuff, and go down that path of like who do people listen to when it comes to health on an individual level. Start reaching out to every one of them. Boom, 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 boom. I've got an offer that I think would be a great fit for your list. We're paying 40%, 50% commission, whatever it is. And you can actually start getting affiliates because they've got an email list or a messenger list or an Instagram or whatever, and they want to make money off of it. And they don't constantly have new offers. You've got a new offer. This is great. How to lose 25 pounds in 30 days, whatever it is. Cool. Maybe it makes sense for them to promote that, in which case they don't know about it until you tell them. So if you created an offer, what I'm going to do in my case is I'm going to go around to anybody who's got a list that's interested in digital marketing, that's interested in building an online business, that's interested in list building, that's interested in social media, any and all of these topics. Anybody that's interested in affiliate marketing, any and all of these topics, for me, are a phenomenal place to start. So I'm going to reach out to all these people. I'm going to say, look, you've got a list. I think it'd be great. I can get them to promote my funnel, right? And they make 40% of all the sales that they send. So if I can get 100 of these, now there's hundreds of thousands of affiliate marketers. There's hundreds of thousands of people who have a list in my space. If I can get 100 of them, this is why it's called the Dream 100. All I need is 100 people to generate 35 sales. Now, I know off the top of my head, I know of at least 100 people who have bigger lists than I do, more reach with their audience, and I can go reach out to them and figure out a way that it might entice them to want to promote my product. Maybe send them something physical in the mail that lets me stand out, inviting them in to promote my funnel. There's a bunch that you can do here, but my goal is to turn 100 people into affiliates, generating 35 sales each. Now, if I can do that in a year, in 1 year, if I can get 35 people to generate 100 sales, that's 3,500 sales, right? That's $1 million. And that's all I've got to do is generate 100 affiliates at 35 sales each. And if you break that down, it's really only finding like 8 affiliates a month. And I can do that I can run ads on Facebook, running an ad of a video just like this. It says, hey, are you an affiliate who wants to promote digital marketing products? Or one of my favorite ways to generate affiliates is to use your members as affiliates for your thing. So let's say they go all the way through my funnel. I get my own customers, 150. They go all the way through my system. It works for them. They build a list. Now I can say, look, you built a list. Why don't you use that list to promote this funnel? It worked for you. Why don't you tell people about it and make commissions? Now, if you're in a different niche, it works a little differently. Like let's say you're in the health space. What's going to happen is if you help somebody lose weight, their friends are going to ask them. And now you could say, look, why don't you just, if you lost all this weight, if you're telling people about it, why don't you give them this link and then they can buy this same program? And so I think turning your positive case studies into your own affiliates is massive. So really, generating 100 affiliates isn't going to be that hard, especially if you have a good product that actually gets people a result. But you can turn customers into affiliates. Again, it's that word of mouth. It's that, hey, I lost a bunch of weight, or hey, I built a bunch of muscle, or hey, I'm healthy now, or I love these socks. Everybody has referral programs you've probably heard about, right? Like you buy a shirt from somewhere and they'll give you a referral program, or you buy something from Amazon or whatever, and they send you a little thing that says, hey, tell your friends and get this. Referral programs are not uncommon. So that's kind of what they're doing, is they figured if I can get 100 people to promote, and you know these numbers. So again, if my number was $2 million, this would just make it, I would need 7,000 sales. And so that means I need 200 affiliates at 35 sales or 100 affiliates at 70. If I'm doing my job right, getting 100 affiliates at 35 isn't hard, because I'm probably going to get 10 that I know of right now that'll generate, probably on their own, 100 to 300 sales, because this offer is going to fit their list perfectly. So now some of my affiliates, they can generate 5, 10 sales, but I'd really like to be able to create an environment where I have 100 of our users generating 10 sales a month, and that right there is 1,000 sales a month. So that blows this number up in a year. Obviously, we're well over $1 million in sales. All right, so that's the anatomy of our $1 million offer, and hopefully that really lays it out from start to finish so you guys understand. There's obviously more nuance to this than I can share in one video with you guys. How do I create my offer? How do I put my headline up? What do the pages look like? Who am I doing here? Like my funnel itself, we already launched it, and I don't even remember, it was something like 140 sales or something. And it was a really bad funnel. But I proved the concept. And that's another theory that I want you guys to understand is when you release an offer, just get it out there and prove concept with an ugly funnel, right? Then you can beautify it. And so what I did was I took the profit from the first launch of this and I invested it back into the business. So I hired a funnel designer who's building a really good looking funnel for this. I wrote more copy. I did kind of the extension of it. At first, it was literally just a video and an order form on a page. Really ugly. I built it. Didn't do very well, but I'm going to make that better now. So the next time I promote my list to it, more sales. So all in all, it's this concept of like constantly refining, right? But you can do it in like a little seed launch, we call it, like a little batch of however many sales you can get up front. Then you reinvest those earnings into creating and making a better funnel. And then again, better funnel. And so, if you're like, oh, Travis, I don't have a great camera like you do your seed launch, buy your camera. That's going to be your next big step, right? If you think that's going to take your game to the next level, buy your next big camera. But I can promise you, the camera doesn't make that big of a difference. Really where you get into making a big difference is like second cameras and different angles and whatnot. But the camera itself doesn't make that big of a difference. I don't know that you're watching this video because of the lighting. We'll find out. I guess you can let me know. But when coming up with the concept of your $1 million offer, make sure you go through the beginning steps of this as well. Really formalize your audience. Write it down. Like, who's your ideal candidate? All the way down to like, they're 55 years old, male, all this. That lets you understand who you can now target, who you can go after, go into these groups, and it gives you a better understanding of who you're talking to. And if you have that defined audience and a really good audience, you can then scale this thing out. And I would urge you guys, remember, this is a process. You might be able to get a lot done in the first week. Take a week and just step back. Then come back into it with a little bit more, muster, if you will, a little bit more like, okay, I'm going to make this happen again. And then when you seed launch it or when you initially launch it, then you come back and you refine it, you tweak it, you keep going. Looking at your numbers, looking at your data so that you can evaluate, okay, my average sale is only $150, I'm paying $130 to get a sale, this isn't great. But I would do that all day long. If I can scale that number up and generate 100 sales myself, great. And that's only using ads. Remember, affiliates are only going to cost you a percentage of whatever the sale is. Again, all of that is done through Kartra, right? They have a built-in affiliate program. They have built-in email. They have a page builder if you want to use that. I personally, really, so far, I kind of advocate towards using a Clickfunnels funnel mixed with a Kartra sort of back-end automation system for the emails, the data, just the analysis of the whole offer. So that's kind of the dual combo that I have. There's links to check out Kartra and Clickfunnels below this video. If you get Clickfunnels or Kartra through one of those links after you check it out, you can actually hit us up via email down below as well, and we'll send you some funnels that you can get started on. Everybody who signs up through us, we eventually just give you some funnels so that you can make it work. And those come with emails sometimes. Depends on what it is that you which one it is that you get. But I hope this makes sense for you guys. If you've been thinking about how to do an offer, I would urge you to write it out just like I just did. What's my game plan? What's my price point? What's my percentages? How's my funnel gonna flow? Like, pump all that out. And then that'll make it a little bit more crystal clear. Now, lastly, before I leave, I'd love to know from you guys, if you could smash that like button to let me know. I'm thinking about going through a little bit more of a vlog style video update for this channel where I update you as we build this funnel into that $1 million. Like talk about some of the landmine type of, you know, things that we've got going on. Like, oh, okay, cool. You know, we just got this big affiliate to promote. Here's how it went. Here's what we did. If you'd be interested in that, I'd love to hear your comments now that you've made it this far in this video. Let me know, would you watch those vlogs? I'm not like a typical vlogger, so I don't know how I'm gonna do it just yet, but I'd love to show you that process. Like, okay, hey, our funnel is done. Here's, you know, me analyzing the funnel. If that seems interesting to you and you'd be interested to kind of follow along with that process, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, let me know what you thought of this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one.